welcome to the channel. I'm Bill, your host, bringing you another episode of Umpteenth Time Hearing, the podcast where I'm working on slowly building this catalog of somewhat obscure music from sometimes lesser-known artists, sometimes more well-known artists, perhaps lesser-known or perhaps well-known on one side of the Atlantic or the other. Generally obscure songs, and even when it's more well-known artists, I'm often looking for a lesser-known song of theirs that strikes my fancy, reminds me of something, or fits with a theme that I have going. And the whole idea here is that my umpteenth time hearing these songs might be your first time hearing. Introduce you to a new artist, even if you're a fan of this week's program's artists. I urge you to check out some of the other podcasts I put out. There's a whole variety of artists and songs you might never have heard of before. But for this week, it is the second of 3 weeks of some more lighthearted music after some weeks of heavier sort of gloom and doom, ghoulish, Halloween-ish type of music that I had going for a while. Looking at some lighter music, these happen to all be focused on gender and gender issues in some way. And this week's artist, I first heard this artist with his one and only top 40 hit in the US. I heard it quite often. Cruel to Be Kind is the name of that song, but I was like 10 or 11 years old when that was on the charts, and that's not the song I'll be doing this week. I also know a number of songs of his that he actually wrote. The first one, What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding, he actually recorded it himself. Well, not solo. This was a song that he wrote for his first band on that band's last album. And of course, something that became a big hit for Elvis Costello, which is how I know it. He also penned Dave Edmunds' song, I Knew the Bride When She Used to Rock and Roll. And I'll explain the connection between Elvis Costello and Dave Edmunds. Elvis Costello and Dave Edmunds and Nick Lowe with his bands in just one moment. I want to introduce this week's song first. Now, while I didn't know of or know the song, his one top 40 hit in England, I Love the Sound of Breaking Glass, the song that we're doing this week, I certainly do know. It's my favorite song of his, and it is from his 1990 album, Party of One. We're going to be listening to All Men Are Liars. Now, this is a song, as I say, it's a 1990 song. So the same year, as it happens, as Christine Lavin's Sensitive New Age Guys that I played last week. And so like that song, it came out and I first heard it when I was shortly after college. I was sharing an apartment with a lesbian couple that I met. They'd asked me if I'd share an apartment with them, so we were hanging out together a lot. They played a lot of new music for me. Christine Lavin was, I think, one. And Nick Lowe, they might have played this one too, although like Christine Lavin, it might have been something that I just heard on the college radio station. But it's a catchy tune and one that sticks with you. Before I get to it, though, I want to fill you in about a little bit of Nick Lowe's band background in addition to his solo work and tie him into those other artists that I mentioned earlier. Now, Nick Lowe got started not as a solo artist, as if I have my facts correct here, but with the band Brinsley Schwartz was the name. Took a moment there, and it seems like might be an odd name for a band. There's lots of odd band names out there, I suppose. But Brinsley Schwartz was the name of his friend and the bassist in the band. And it was on their last album. They were a British pub band, active for about 5 or 6 years, 5 albums during that time. And as I was starting to say, their last album, the new favorites of Brinsley Schwartz, that was the one that contained their recording of Peace, Love, and Understanding. And Duncan McManus, who became more well known as Elvis Costello, was a roadie for them at that time. And that's how Nick Lowe and Elvis Costello met, and how Nick Lowe then came to record What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding. And then also, Dave Edmunds was a producer on that album, that last album of Brinsley Schwartz. And after Brinsley Schwartz ended, Nick Lowe and Dave Edmunds got together with others to form the band Rockpile. And I can't remember if it was before or during that time that he wrote I Knew the Bride Who Used to Rock and Roll for Dave Edmunds. And he had one other short-lived project after that. Little Village was the name of the band. Only lasted a year, 1 album. Most notable for having Reed Cooter as a member of the band. So I don't want to keep you any longer. We're not going to be listening to any of those bands' music. It's just a sample of the type of and the breadth of the work that Nick Lowe has accomplished over the decades. Before we get into it, though, a reminder that if you need them, he's pretty clear in his vocals, so I don't know that you will, but the lyrics are posted in that top pinned comment below. While you're down there, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. Appreciate it if you hit that like button and share the video with your friends. Certainly ring that notification bell if you want to find out who's coming up next, because it's a little something different every week. You know, as I always say, if you don't like the artist this week, just check out some of the other podcasts I've already put out or wait for next week, because it's always a little bit different. But for now, though, let's get right into it. This is Nick Lowe with All Men Are Liars. Enjoy.
With it, you know, and one of the ladies in the audience, extremely enraged, stood up and nailed him, and she wound up this diatribe and said, "All men are liars, all men are liars, all men are liars." And I said, "Madam, allow me to relieve you of this title."
Okay. And on that note, hit me. All men are liars.
Okay.
Nick Lowe.
All men are liars, their words ain't worth no more than worn out tires. Hey girls, bring rusty pliers to pull this tooth. All men are liars, and that's the truth. Well, do you remember Rick Astley? He had a big fat hit, it was ghastly. He said, "I'm never gonna give you up or let you down." Well, I'm here to tell you that Dick's a clown. Though he was just a boy when he made that vow, I bet it all that he knows by now. All men are liars, their words ain't worth no more than worn out tires. Hey girls, bring rusty pliers to pull this tooth. All men are liars, and that's the truth. Of all God's creatures, a man must be the most slimy and slippery now. There stands the naked in a monkey suit. Behind the little mustache he grew, the shifty brute. All the ones not choking on the words they ate are sweating on getting their stories straight. All men are liars, their words ain't worth no more than worn out tires. Hey girls, bring rusty pliers to pull this tooth. All men are liars, and that's the truth. All men are liars, their words ain't worth no more than worn out tires. Hey girls, bring rusty pliers to pull this tooth. All men are liars, all men are liars, all men are liars, all men are liars, and that's the truth. Down, 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 down. That's the truth.
Oh yeah, there we have it, folks. A song I'm sure plenty of people can relate to. Nick Lowe with All Men Are Liars. Now, I have to admit that much like the last week's song, Christine Lavin's Sensitive New Age Guys, All Men Are Liars, not a song I've really heard umpteen times. I graduated from college. I didn't have the easy access to vinyl that I did at the radio station. I've heard it quite a few times. But it's just one of those that, especially the chorus, sticks in your brain. So that takes care of that song. I did want to mention, though, about Nick Lowe before I wrap the program up here. that worth knowing that in addition to him being a prolific, singer, songwriter, guitarist, entertainer, he's also quite the producer. He produced Elvis Costello's first 5 albums and has worked with the likes of Dr. Feelgood, The Pretenders, Johnny Cash, and his then wife Carlene Carter as well. And final note on that song, something that didn't really occur to me until I was working on this program, but isn't it a bit of a circular logic paradox? If a man says all men are liars, doesn't that make him a liar? And so how can you know he's telling the truth when he says that? And if he's lying when he says all men are liars, doesn't that mean that not all men are liars? You see what I'm saying? On the other hand, the possibility might well just be, I'm taking a non-serious song far. That's going to do it for this week's show. Be sure to tune in next week. It is, of course, going to be the third of the 3 weeks of some more lighthearted music. This one, definitely less of the folk music style. Music by a woman who's more well known as a comic actress. Had just a couple of extended play albums and 3 really songs that are fairly well known, and they're all kind of humorous, but there's one of them that's just, for reasons nothing to do with her, not quite so funny anymore. I don't want to give anything away though. I will tune in next week to hear the song that I'll be playing by this artist, which won't be the non-funny one. Hey, take a look below. I always try and include some important links, or not important, relevant links. The lyrics were there if you didn't get a chance to look at them first off. And as always, certainly appreciate if you subscribe, if you like the video, and click the share button. Don't forget to ring the notification bell if you want to find out what's going to be playing next week and what type of different music will be coming up in subsequent weeks. I always encourage you to take a look at some of my earlier posts to see the whole variety of music and take a look. You might discover someone new. For now, though, thanks so much for tuning in. As always, may the best of your past be the worst of your future. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day. Bye now.